always have good questions.
These are excellent questions.
That's a great question, Brandon.
And I'm going to give you a good answer. It's your show.
Asking your questions, getting your answers. This is your show. Here's your host, Adam Schrager.
Good morning and welcome to your show for Sunday, May 31st. Coming up, we'll ask your healthcare-related questions to the former head of the National Democratic Party, Howard Dean. First, though, he is one of the most popular drivers in America today and has achieved the type of stature that he's known by a single name, Jimmie. Your show producer, Christy Tetzler, is a huge fan of the man who drives the number 48 car in NASCAR. Recently asked your questions to Jimmie Johnson.
Our first question comes in from Eric in Lakewood, and he was watching the All-Star race and wants to know what was going through your mind when you were spinning all over the track.
Just don't want to hit anything or be hit by anyone. I could tell that it wasn't, the way the slide started was just a little nudge from the 11, and I could tell where the slide was taking me, and I was just trying to avoid the wall, and saw some cars come pretty close to mine, and thankfully no one hit us and damaged the race car.
Jonathan Bartleson writes in and wants to know, do you believe if there was no rule for going below the yellow line at Talladega, the Carl Edwards crash would have ever happened? And also, do you believe that the yellow line rule should be removed from all the super speedways?
No, it needs to be there. I mean, we'd be racing in the grass if there wasn't some type of rule. It's unfortunate that situation took place, and thankfully no one was seriously injured. But when we're up against the wall on what to do at the restrictor plate tracks, we have to keep the cars at a controlled speed. The tracks are so big and forgiving that leaves us in these big packs. There's the yellow line rule. There's a variety of different rules to make it safer. But still, at the end of the day, you're in a race car going almost 200 miles an hour and stuff happens. And that was one of those deals where stuff happened, and thankfully no one was really injured all that badly.
Brandon Laws wants to know, if you were trying to recruit people to become NASCAR fans, what would you tell them about the sport? And Brian in Highlands Ranch wants to know what you would say to non-fans who think that racing is only about turning left and going fast.
Well, in both cases, I would actually want to take them to the racetrack. And with the first question, just let whoever it is that hasn't been to a race watch one in person and really see what it's about. I think it will sell itself on the spot. The other side of it is, that second question, is just simply go to the Jeff Gordon Driving School, buy your admission ticket to ride or drive the car, whichever you choose to do, and then get back to me and see what they think of us as just turning left and going fast.
We got a question in off our Facebook page from Michael Ruprich, who wants to know if you've ever had plans of driving in the Indianapolis 500 or any IndyCar race, and I'll take it even further and ask about Formula One or any other racing series.
I would love to experience an open wheel car. An F1 car would be the top level of that. An IndyCar would be incredible as well. I actually hoped to be an IndyCar driver when I was a kid growing up. That seemed like the path that a lot of off-road racers took and ended up in the open wheel world. And my paths kind of led me to stock cars, but I'd love to do either one. I'd also love to race in the 24 hours of Le Mans for that matter. I think there's some really cool cars and races that I'd like to compete in someday.
Brandon Littleton writes in and says, you've won 3 championships in a row, the Daytona 500, you've won at Indianapolis. What surprised you the most?
Really, those victories and the championships. I've always been dedicated to the sport and I've worked real hard to accomplish these things and hoped that I would. But to really see it all come together, it's been quite mind-blowing, to say the least.
Steve writes in and wants to know, what's it like to work with Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
He's a lot of fun. He definitely keeps it lighthearted. He comes up with some sayings and the stuff that comes out of his mouth and that he thinks of is pretty amusing. So I have a good time working with him.
Kim Valentine writes in and says, you and Chad seem to get along so well. How important do you think the relationship between a crew chief and a driver is to the success of a race team?
It's a very, very big part of it. It is a team sport, so there are many levels throughout the company and throughout a team where communication is important. But the driver and crew chief is probably the most important relationship. And with the testing rules like they are and the fact that we don't run telemetry on the race cars, how we communicate and understand one another makes the car go faster. And it's a big part of what we do.
Jennifer Lamb wants to know, what other sports do you like and what teams?
I've been watching more baseball lately, and I have some friends that I grew up with that play baseball and met a bunch of great guys through them. So I really don't have a particular team, but it's the same thing for football. I met guys through different events and functions, and I really pull for individuals, I guess, more than I do teams. I have to pull for my San Diego teams. I grew up out on the West Coast, and I hope the best for them. And then also here in Carolina, I've got to root for the Panthers as well. Coach Fox is a great friend, and I certainly want to see Charlotte have success.
Mark Rose next from Meade writes in and says, if you had the opportunity to swap cars with another driver for a day, whose car would you hop into and why?
I would swap cars with, as of now, it would be Jenson Button in an F1 car, but the first one that came to mind would be Lewis Hamilton. I would love to experience the F1 cars that they ran last year with the high downforce and before this new rules package kicked in.
There's been some talk about building a NASCAR track in the Denver area, and Brandon Hughes wants to know, would you support a NASCAR track being developed here?
I certainly do. I think that from my standpoint, and I don't own a track or operate or have any idea what it takes to do all of that, I think we need to have one race at every venue and be in as many states as possible. That way we can reach more fans, more markets. So with that in mind, absolutely I would support a track in Denver. There are a lot of other things that go into it to make that happen, and there are no guarantees. I mean, it's a tough thing. It's a tough accomplishment, a tough job to get a NASCAR date, and I don't know where they're going to get it from. We already race 38 times a year, so I'm not sure how realistic that opportunity is, but I certainly would support it.
Jimmie, Leslie writes in and says, how do you feel about fans getting a tattoo in your honor? She wants you to know she has a big one, and it's her favorite tattoo.
It is. It's hard to believe at times. I mean, it's the most, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it's overwhelming when you see it. Somebody has a tattoo of your race car, or your number, your signature on their body. It is the ultimate way a fan can show respect to whatever, to myself and whoever they're getting that tattoo of. I think they're a bit crazy. I love it, though. I love them for being crazy. But it takes my breath every time. I'm like, that's for life. I mean, that's... What if I change my car number and then the number's on there? Then where are you at?
Our final question comes in from Kate, and she wants to know, why did you start the Jimmie Johnson Foundation, and what other charity work do you do?
Well, I've been doing charity work for a long time. I really got a taste of it when I was racing in the off-road industry. We'd go to local hospitals in the areas where we would race and just walk through and meet kids and pass out stickers and autograph cards and things. And at that point, it really became evident to me that you can put a smile on someone's face. And I've done a lot of different charity work over the years. And then a few years back, the Petty family, Kyle and Patty, sat my wife and I down and said, if you guys want to do more, you can start a foundation, and we'd love to help you. And you can do so much more if you wanted to. And we thought about it for a little bit and didn't know how to really get started, and took some great advice from them and started putting our staff together and started the Jimmie Johnson Foundation. And it's been amazing. We've raised and passed out a few $1 million already in just a couple short years. And to hold our events, to have the support from the fans, support from our sponsors, and to really give back and help the areas that we're focused on right now means a lot to us.